Have you ever had one of those days where you're just really trying to get something done, it doesn't work out? I think I've started this video 4 times today. Crazy. Alright, we'll try it again. Maybe I can piece it all together. What I was trying to show you was how I come up with some card designs. Or it could be a scrapbook page or a 3D item. But we're going to focus basically on a card today. And the one that we're going to use is this layout right here. This is my go-to book if I don't have any designs in my head, or I'm struggling with being creative or coming up with something on my own. This has sketches in it that I have just drawn over the years. This book's getting pretty full, so this is probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years worth of sketches right here. And I probably need to update it because I know I've seen some other cute sketches I like. Sometimes pull it out, sometimes I don't. But I have a lot in here. And I have broken them into categories. I have circles, rectangles, squares, large focal points, small focal points, and then accents. So if I don't have a design in my head, but I know, for example, I want to use this stamp set. Let's say I want to use this flower. Well, that's a very round image, so I'm going to go to my circle section, and I'm going to pick a card based on something that I have drawn in here that I'm going to use for a layout. And 9 times out of 10, I'll find something right away that I want to use. Okay, but it could be, you know, a rectangle, it could be a square. There's a lot of crossover between these two sections. It doesn't take much for a square to become a rectangle. Then large focal points, this might be a large stamped image. It might be a piece of designer series paper. This one, for example, might be a piece of designer series paper or a large image that I want to put on there. Then I have small focal points and then accents, and these are just little images that might go on a card, a scrapbook page, or a 3D item. We're going to focus on this card today, and I'm going to show you the rest of the steps of the process. So, for example, let's say that I'm going to use this image right here out of Vintage Vogue, which we are, and I've mounted that on my block D. Well, that is not a circle, but as I was flipping through my book, I decided that this card really caught my eye. It's simple, it's easy, and another reason it caught my eye is because I want to use a piece of the sweet pea stitch felt, and the little flower drew my eye to it. Okay, so we're going to use that, and I'll refer back to it as we go along. Set that over to the side. The next place I go from there is I decide what colors I'm going to use, and a great way to decide what colors you're going to use is to start with designer series paper that maybe already has colors in it. For example, this is the Sweet Pea collection, and if I want to use this piece of paper, then this is already dictating the colors for me, and I love that about designer series paper. But in this case, I knew that I wanted to use this piece of Sweet Pea stitched felt. Now it looks cute on here, but the pink kind of gets lost. So I just went through and I picked some other colors to use, and I'm going to show you those two. What I decided was that I really like this green herringbone pattern. There is a pink herringbone pattern in there, but I like the green because my flower would get lost on a piece of pink. It would be too much pink on pink. But because I still wanted to tie some pink in, I grabbed a piece of pink from there and added that across the bottom, just using my scallop trim border punch. I just punched that in the pink and adhered it to the back side of it. So see how my colors are coming together? The only thing that's left is brown, and to tie the brown in, put my sign over here, put my book on it, is a piece of chocolate chip cardstock that I cut in half, folded in half, and I ran it through my Big Shot. I'm not sure if you can see the texture. I love the Perfect Polka Dots impression folder. It's just so nice and deep and rich. Love that. Okay, so there's the beginnings of my card. Now let's create our focal point. And if we go back, this one was a circle. Now it doesn't have to be a circle. It could be a square or a rectangle based on your image. We're just going for the general layout idea there. Now what I did was I decided to make it a circle, and I got a piece of shimmery white cardstock. I love that, and it has some nice weight to it. Since I'm not layering, I want it to be a little bit thicker. And what I have done is I've taken my circles number 2 die. This has the 4 different circles on it, and I cut out this circle down here on the bottom, and that is a 2-inch circle. Okay, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to take my friend's image. Now there's a couple different ways that I could make both of these to have both of these images to have different colors. One way is that I could color them with markers. You've seen me do that before. And another is to use my stamp pad and a marker combination. Now the only time that I will ever do this is if I'm going to go back over this ink color with basic black or a chocolate chip. I might use a basic gray if I was going over maybe a barely banana sort of color. But for the most part, chocolate chip and basic black doesn't hurt my markers, because those colors are made up of combinations of colors. So I've inked it up with my chocolate chip ink, I'm sorry, my old olive ink pad, and I just colored the words friends with chocolate chip. Give that a little huff to re-moisten it. And here's the best thing about the clear blocks, is I can see that I'm inside my circle. Give that some good pressure. Perfect. Okay, I love how that came out. Now, the reason I did my the letter F in green and not pink is because, if we look back at our image, that little flower is supposed to overlap the F, and if I made my F pink, then the flower would be lost. So I went with the old olive for the contrast. Okay, same reason for using the green paper here, designer paper. Now the only thing that's left is to put my card together. Let me grab some dimensionals. Take my card base, put some adhesive on that. Lay that down here. Here's a good tip for you as far as lining up images when you're putting them across. If you'll use your grid paper and you'll line up part of your cardstock on one side of the line and the other part on the other, it helps you get it nice and straight. I'm going to take my letter F. Now, if you noticed, put some dimensionals on here. If you noticed in our original sketch, the circle is on the right hand side, and since our letter F has friends on the left hand side, that would dictate that my flower would be over here. Well, that's not going to work because it covers it up. No big deal. Just move it over to the left hand side of your card. Exactly. Okay. And then I have my little sweet pea felt flowers. These not the cutest. I just have a little flower. And I'm going to put a dimensional on the back of this. We could use glue dots as well. I think a dimensional will work just fine. Of the letter F with my little leaves sticking out. And I just think that's too cute. Isn't that fun? Good. Which we're relatively close to where we ended. We just shifted our focal point to the left instead of the right. I did scallop, and then I textured the background. But for the most part, this was a great starting point for this. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you like the basics of kind of how I put things together, and maybe I'll show you some more ideas from my sketch. A bit easier when it comes to putting cards together. I will see you guys later. Thanks.